K-pop Demon Hunters is my new obsession, so let's make some fan art. I've been itching to make a big, proper character illustration for a long time now. When I first saw this movie, I knew I had to make fan art for it. So I decided on Zoe, purely because she's so cute. I love all three characters, but for some reason, like, Zoe was just really speaking to me. I really like her little buns as well. So yeah, I will be drawing Zoe from K-pop Demon Hunters. I found this pose on Pinterest, and it really reminded me of the beginning of the movie, when the three main characters are eating snacks, and specifically ramen, before their show. So I got the idea to draw Zoe sitting on a stool eating her little ramen noodles before a show. So that's what I'll be doing. Animation and animated movies have been quite disappointing for a while now, probably the last decade or so. For a long time, Disney and Pixar dominated the animation field, probably for decades. They were innovative, unique, and successful movies. The majority of us grew up with these movies and loved them. But now, a lot of these movies are feeling very copy and paste and very bland. I feel like a lot of these new movies, the story writing is terrible, the plot is boring, there's weak character writing and development. All these characters are feeling very similar and very surface level. We aren't really relating to them. And then on top of that, the animation style seems to be the exact same in every single one of these animated movies. It's overly smooth and just really perfect and almost AI looking. And I feel like even the characters, they're all kind of looking the same, especially Disney movies. Like, they all kind of have same face syndrome. And yeah, I just feel like all these new animated movies, they're all trying to look like Disney. And that's just not a very good thing, because Disney movies these days, like I said, they look overly smooth and perfect, and it's like almost eerie in the same way AI is. And like, I don't know, there's just nothing interesting about it. The characters don't even look very interesting, and they all look the same. And on top of that, the writing is just very poor for all these movies. But for these past few years, there has been some studios that have been pushing the limits of animation and making it more of an art again, rather than an industry to like be profited off of, if that makes sense. So some examples of this are Arcane, the Spider-Verse movies. I haven't actually seen them yet, but I've been meaning to. The Puss in Boots new movie, The Last Wish, and now K-pop Demon Hunters. These are all movies that were all innovative in their own way. They all brought something new to the table that other animation hasn't really done before. And therefore these are very successful movies, because it feels like the people working on them were actually passionate in what they were doing. It felt like they actually cared for these projects and dedicated so much time, effort, and just love into these movies. And it shows. It's not just something that people showed up to work and, worked on to reach a deadline so these big corporations can, make some money. Like, it feels like art again. So I don't actually know a lot about animation. I'm not much of an animator myself, but I did do a little bit of research on K-pop Demon Hunters because I thought that the animation was so interesting, or the whole movie was just interesting to me for a lot of different reasons. But I actually found out that the demons and the humans in this movie are animated completely differently. In animation, you normally animate either on 1s, 2s, or 3s, and 1s is like really smooth, like very fluid. That means that you're animating in each individual frame. So each second there is something new happening. While, say, animating on 3s, that's more like anime and stuff. That means every 3 frames there's movement. So the humans are actually animated on 2s in this movie, meaning that the characters moved every other frame instead of every frame, and that makes them look more choppy, and you just have a very distinct animation style this way. And demons, on the other hand, were animated on 1s, meaning animated on every frame. That made them look more smooth and fluid and almost eerily perfect, which is kind of what they were going for. So I just think it's interesting that the animators actually made a conscious choice to make the humans and demons like act and move differently, and therefore feel different to us. Like, I don't know, that's just such a genius thing. Another thing that this movie does that I don't think I've ever seen in another movie before, I think this is a really like groundbreaking thing in animation, is the expressions that they use in this movie. It's very like anime influenced. It's like super exaggerated expressions that you normally only really see in 2D media, such as anime or cartoons, but you don't really see in 3D animation. But you know, they did it here, and it makes the characters so much more expressive. It brings a touch of humor as well. Like these faces are actually funny. And yeah, I really like that. It also makes these like the female main characters feel more real. They feel more personalized and more like us. Like they're not just perfect characters on the screen, if that makes sense. So yeah, I am very impressed with this movie. I know a lot of people are. I think this is one of the most successful movies ever on Netflix, which is definitely a good thing. I really hope that more studios start making work like this. I love seeing actual effort in media. Like it really pays off. But yeah, I think that the writing was really good, the plot was interesting, and the characters, like, I loved them all. I loved the animation and the art. I think the art direction or whatever is really good for this movie as well. There's two scenes in particular that really stood out to me. And one is when you see Rumi's silhouette running under the Huntrix billboard. And while she does that, you hear young Rumi singing "We Are Hunters, Voice is Strong." I think that was a really powerful moment, and I don't know, you can just screenshot that moment as well, and just the screenshot alone is like just a really powerful image. I don't know, that really stuck out to me. And the other moment I can think of is towards the end of the movie when Rumi confronts Celine while she's like turning into a demon. And I like the writing here. I like when Rumi said, "Why couldn't you love me?" Celine goes, "I do." And then Rumi goes, she yells, "All of me," in her like demon voice. And then you can see the moon kind of breaking around her. I don't know. I got chills from that. That was amazing. And obviously, I loved the music. Every single song is good. My favorites are Your Idol and Golden, but there just isn't a bad song in this movie. And something that's actually really interesting is that the animators, they actually studied K-pop music videos and performances to kind of recreate the same vibe. And you actually see a lot of that in especially Your Idol at the end. There's a lot of very similar camera work, and it's so pleasing to the eyes. It just looks good. They've done such a good job with this. My only complaint for this movie is that it's just too short. It was originally supposed to be 3 hours, but Netflix, told them to shorten it. So that does suck. We've all complained about this. I would have loved for Zoe and Mira to be more fleshed out. Like I think it's in Golden, the song, that we kind of get, like they kind of get a verse each about their like childhood, but that's kind of all we ever really know about them. So I would have loved for them to be more fleshed out. I would have loved for Rumi and Jinu's relationship to be more fleshed out as well. Apparently there were supposed to be so many more scenes, but again, they had to cut things out because they had to shorten the movie. I would have loved to hear a backstory for Rumi's mother and like her demon father, because how are we just gonna like glance past that? Hello? And then lastly, I've always thought I think it's kind of weird that Jinu is the only demon that's like kind of humanoid. We actually get his backstory, and he kind of gave up his humanity for this and that, whatever, but he lives with regret and shame, and that's how, what's his name? Guima? I can't remember his name. That's how the big bad demon, like, controls him. But I understand that he's different from the other demons, like the lowly ones, the less intelligent, like, just like little monster-looking guys. But I don't understand why the other members of Soja Boys aren't also like Jinu, because they look more human. So if Jinu is a former human with memories of his past and has regrets and shame and all that, why don't the other members have that? Or did they? It was just never spoken about because they didn't have time to delve into that. I don't know. That's like my biggest question for the movie. But yeah, I do think they've confirmed that there will be sequels, which is really good. So hopefully we'll get some of this answered. But yeah, it's a shame that they couldn't just have the 3-hour version. But yeah, I guess that's enough talk about the movie. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on this movie. I think Sam Does Art. I think that's the YouTuber I watched, or the artist that I watched. Discuss K-pop Demon Hunters, and he had a lot of really interesting, like insights or points about the movie. Uh, Again, coming from an artist's point of view, so go watch that video if you're interested. But yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It is great. I've been recommending it to everyone in my life. To the drawing itself, I didn't record the sketch or base colors because it just ends up being too long. This video is already so long, like with just the rendering part, and I've actually cut out a lot of footage as well with the more boring parts. Like, I've cut out a lot, or sped up a lot as well, of me coloring in Zoe's outfit because I just think it's less interesting than like her face and stuff. Even while speeding up this entire video, and portions of it are sped up even more, and I've cut out a lot, it's still so long. So I spent nearly 8 hours on this drawing. So I've got a lot of footage. But let me know if you guys like longer videos or not. I personally like longer art videos. I like just putting on an art video and hearing an artist just yap about anything and everything. I like just having that on in the background while I cook, or just in the morning while I eat my breakfast and like drink my tea before school and stuff like that. Or to fall asleep to. I do fall asleep to art videos every night. But the only thing that's hard with that is having enough to yap about for the voiceover. Because I think this video is like 40 minutes long. I don't think I'll be speaking for 40 minutes. But I'll try. But yeah, let me know if you guys even enjoy longer videos or not. Because if not, then I'll just have to cut more stuff out and make them shorter. But yeah, so at the start, I do some basic shading, more just to map out where the highlights and the shadows are going. And then when I'm done, I duplicate those layers and I combine all of the coloring and sketch layers so that I can work on only one layer. And I just do all the rendering on that one layer. I've just found that that's the easiest for me, rather than jumping back and forth between all the layers. I think it's just a lot easier to just do it all on one layer. And yeah, I spent most of the time on the face, but that makes sense because that's where I want to draw the attention anyway. So yeah, I must have spent a few hours on Zoe's face, definitely. The brushes I use here are from Jing Sketch Basics. I think that's what it's called. It's a free pack. If you just Google that, you should be able to find them. Just some Procreate brushes. They're what I've been using for the past year or so, I think. Because I've been trying to use more texture in my digital drawings because I don't like when it's too overly smooth and overly blended. Like, I don't know, it just gives the same eerie like AI vibe that I was talking about earlier. I like when there's a little texture. It gives it a little life, you know? It makes it a little more personal and interesting and creative. And yeah, I like that when you zoom in, you can kind of like, you can see the texture and there's just more to look at, you know? I don't know, it's so good. The two brushes I mainly used while drawing are from that pack I was talking about earlier, the Jing Sketch Basics like brush pack, and I used the Sharp Render for the majority of the rendering, and then I used the Thin Ink brush for like the hair and stuff. And yeah, I really like those two brushes. Also, the ramen cup that Zoe is holding is the actual ramen cup that she eats from in the movie as well, because each of the three characters have their own like ramen flavor with like themselves on the ramen cup. So I thought it'd be interesting that she'd be like eating her own ramen, because I think that's exactly what she eats in the beginning of the movie as well. And yeah, once I was done with the rendering, then it was time to do the lighting, which is when the drawing really comes together in my opinion. So that's mostly just playing around with layer modes. I mostly use overlay for different color effects. I use add for highlights, and then I use multiply for shadows. So I'm just playing with that for a long time until the piece starts to come together. I did also darken the lower half of it and added some Gaussian blur down at the bottom just to like bring attention to Zoe's face and not so much her body. And yeah, then I was done. And like I said, I spent nearly 8 hours on this piece, which would probably be why I don't often make these big illustrations. Like, it's just very time consuming, but it's so rewarding. Like, this is probably my favorite piece I've drawn in a very long time. So I do want to make more like this. I do I do really like it. I enjoy it, even though it's very long. I do think it's very rewarding. To some life updates and what I've been up to. I actually had a minor surgery on my foot on Monday, so I've been stuck on the couch slash in my bed all week long. And for the beginning of the week, I was like drugged up on hard painkillers for the first few days, and all I could really do was lay and sleep because the painkillers were making me feel really sick as well. Like, oh, like the recovery was not nice at the beginning of the week because they gave me some hard painkillers because obviously, like, I had a surgery done. I have stitches in my foot. Like, it's gonna hurt. So that first night, I think I woke up at 4 a.m. with like really bad pain in my foot. So I ended up like taking my painkillers for the first time because my surgery was quite late in the afternoon on Monday, and like they numbed my foot for it. So the numbing lasted for the majority of the evening, and then just towards the night, I think I just took some paracetamol and like went to bed. And then in the middle of the night, once the numbing had worn off, like obviously it hurt. So that's when I first tried the like hard painkillers that they gave me, and like I slept fine after that. And then whenever I got up, like the moment I sat up, I noticed immediately that I was like really dizzy and I felt really drowsy. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I make it up to the living room and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna vomit. So that was not nice. I actually think I only took those painkillers that first night, and I was like, I had to lay on the couch for the entire day after that because every time I sat up, like I was really sick. And then by the end of the night, I did vomit, so that was very nice. And then I knew I was not going to take those pills anymore because that was rough. So then I was given some new painkillers, and they were definitely better than the first ones because they didn't make me feel as sick, but I definitely still felt sick. So for the first 2.5 days after my surgery, all I could really do was lay on the couch and nap because I was just feeling so sick, and every time I sat up, like I felt like I was gonna vomit. But yeah, the pain isn't really like, the pain has mostly passed. It's mostly sore, and like it obviously hurts to walk and stuff. But when I'm just sitting and resting, like there's not really any pain. So I've moved over to just taking some paracetamol when needed. But yeah, those pills were not nice. Oh my god. So I was just out for the count for those first few days. All I could do was just lay there and nap. But yeah, I am recording this Saturday, so the day before this video comes out. You know, it's been a few days since I first had this surgery. I will need to keep my foot elevated and use it as little as possible until the stitches are removed in a little over a week, because I had to keep the stitches in for 2 weeks. But I'm feeling much better. I don't have harsh painkillers in my system anymore, like making me feel weird. So that's why I was able to finally finish this drawing yesterday. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to use my studio again as well, because obviously with each passing day I can move around slightly more. So I don't actually have any projects I'm working on at the moment. Like I said, I've been out for the count like all week. But hopefully I can use my studio again, because I am nearly done with my first page of my new sketchbook, which should be the next video. Other than that, I'm not really working on anything else, but like I said, I am feeling better now, so I can, do some stuff now. Do some other things I've been up to. Since I've been couch bound, I've actually watched a lot lately. Like my family was watching movies with me a lot since I couldn't do much else. So I did see the new season of Wednesday with my family. Then I think last weekend before my surgery, I actually finished Love is War because I had like 4 episodes left. And then I finished season 1 of Spy Family because there too I had 2 episodes left. So I just wanted to finish the things that I'd already started on, because like it was pissing me off a little bit, like just get it out of the way. And then some of the movies I watched this week with my family, I saw the new Batman movie for the first time. That's pretty much the only new movie I've seen in a long time, because other than that, I rewatched some comfort movies. So I saw Just Go With It and White Chicks, because they're just comfort movies. And then I've been watching a little bit of Somebody Feed Phil with my family, which is like such an odd thing that I enjoy, but I do. Because it's kind of like a travel/cooking program. Like, it's just this guy named Phil who travels the world and like tries cuisine from all over the world. But I love it because it's such a feel-good show to me, because the guy, Phil, is like, he's just such a nice guy. He's such a happy guy as well. He just brings joy and kindness everywhere he goes, and it just makes me happy. He's such a great man. Like, I just love it. And also, I would just love to be paid to travel the world and eat food. Like, does that not sound like the dream? For games, I haven't been able to use my studio yet, so no PC games. So no Stardew Valley since last weekend, because I play that on my PC with my partner. But and I also played Fall Guys on my PC with him. But since I haven't been able to use my PC, we've been playing a little bit of Fall Guys together, like while I just play on my Switch. I've also played some Minecraft on my Switch, just up in the living room, because we created a world with my sister and my dad. So while I was like on the couch feeling miserable, they were playing some Minecraft with me, which is nice. And other than that, I did also pick up Persona 5 Royal again. I'm like 80 something hours into it, but I feel like I'm so far from the end as well, because my first playthrough was on the PlayStation back when it was just Persona 5, like not Persona 5 Royal, and I think I played between 40 and 50 hours of it. And I came much farther then than I'm now doing on Persona 5 Royal with 80 hours, which is shocking. So I'm gonna have a lot of hours into this game, but I'm not complaining because it is one of my favorite games. I do love it. But I've yet to finish the game, so I gotta do that. And then books, still working on the same two I've been working on the entire summer. I haven't read much though, because like I said, I've spent most of this week just laying down and napping while watching comfort movies with my family. But I did read like a chapter or two of King of Scars, because I would really like to read that before I head back to the UK. And then I am working on Before They Are Hanged, which is my Kindle book that I tend to read at night. But this entire week, every time I actually get down to my bedroom at night, I've been just going to bed, so I haven't actually read any. But yeah, now that I'm feeling better, hopefully I'll read some more. And yeah, that is everything. Hopefully, I've recorded enough content so that at least the majority of this video has voiceover, but I don't know. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this movie. Let me know what you think about this drawing. Let me know if you guys prefer longer or shorter videos. That way I can keep that in mind for next time. And yeah, you can always follow me on TikTok as well. See some different types of videos, and So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next Sunday.